Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Components that are required for the translational process. This is our lecture 3 in respect to the translation. In the previous lectures, we discussed about the genetic code and how this genetic code it is helpful for the recognition of amino acids so as to incorporate into a growing polypeptide chain. This amino acid, how it is incorporated, it is through the translational process. For the translational process, there are a large number of components that are required for the synthesis of a new polypeptide chains. These components, they are the different types of amino acids. There are 20 standard amino acids which are required for the production of a, or for the translation of a structural protein. uh, the 20 standard amino acids, because they are the components of structured proteins. So these amino acids, they are first of all recognized by the tRNA and then incorporated into the polypeptide chain. Next one is the transfer RNA. The tRNA, which is also known as the adapter molecules, they are so called because they recognize the specific amino acids, then bring these amino acids to the messenger RNA, from where it incorporates the specific amino acid into a growing polypeptide chain. For this purpose, this transfer RNA, it contains the amino acid attachment site and the anticodon site. The other loops of tRNA, they are helpful to maintain the structure of tRNA, but these these two loops, they are used for the attachment and for the translational process. One is the amino acid attachment site. The amino acid attachment site is present at the 3' end. It contains the nucleotide sequence CCA. The nucleotide sequence CCA hydroxyl group, it attaches the specific amino acid at its carboxylic end. The carboxylic end contains the acidic group, that is the carboxylate, and it then react with the hydroxyl group. This is an ester linkage by which the attachment of a specific amino acid to its amino acid attachment site at the 3' end take place. Other one is the anticodon loop. The anticodon, or the sequence of 3 nucleotides, they are present at the anticodon loop. These anticodon, it recognizes the specific codon present on the messenger RNA, and the pairing and pairing and binding, it is antiparallel as well as complementary. By this, a specific amino acid, it which is recognized by the tRNA, then it will incorporate into a specific polypeptide chain. The amino acid tRNA synthetases, these are the enzymes which are helpful to recognize for a specific amino acid to a tRNA. Along with, they are responsible for the proofreading as well as editing of this specific amino acid. If it is wrong, then they will proofread this amino acid and then edit the specific amino acid to their respective codon or anticodon. These are the family of 20 members, or more than 20 members, which are helpful to recognize a specific amino acid present for the uh, in the growing polypeptide chain. Amino acid tRNA synthetases, they are also helpful for the reaction which is two-step reaction, and it is energy requiring reaction. Here the two phosphate bonds break and then added the specific amino acid to the tRNA at its 3' end of the tRNA. Then next is the messenger RNA. Messenger RNA, it is the template which provides the instruction for the amino acids into a polypeptide chain. This messenger RNA, it contains the codon. Codon are the word which consists of a 3 nucleotide bases, and these three nucleotide sequence, they are present, they are read from 5 prime to 3 prime direction, while the anticodon, which is present on the tRNA, it read in complementary and as well as in antiparallel direction, that is 3 prime to 5 prime direction. So codon present on the messenger RNA always read in 5 prime to 3 prime direction, while the anticodon, which is present on tRNA, it read in 3 prime to 5 prime direction. Here, the functional components of ribosomes must be present during the translational process. Ribosomes, they are the machines, or they are the translating machines. These ribosomes, they comprises two subunits. One is the larger one and other one is the smaller. These ribosomes also contain the ribosomal RNA, the which are associated with the ribosomal protein so as to form a complex known as the ribonucleoprotein complex. These two subunits of ribosomes, both in prokaryotes as well as in eukaryotes, they contain the binding sites. These binding sites consists of A, P, and E sites. A, P, and E sites, they are the binding sites present on both subunits of the ribosomes in prokaryotes as well as in eukaryotes. A site is the amino acid attachment site. This site is for the tRNA, which bring the new amino acid that will be incorporated into the polypeptide chain. This P site, it is the amino acid side, it is the tRNA for those tRNA which contain the polypeptide, the growing polypeptide chain. So the peptidyl attachment side, this one is the new incoming amino acid site, and the E side, it is the empty site of those tRNA which is after incorporation the amino acid, now it is uncharged and then it bind at the E site. These three sites, which are the binding sites, it binds the tRNA as A site binds the tRNA, bringing the incoming amino acid. P site is contain the RNA, tRNA, which contain the polypeptide chain, and E site contain the tRNA, which contain the empty site. These ribosomes, they are the cytosolic in location. Ribosomes may be attached to the endoplasmic reticulum or maybe they are free in the cytosol. When they are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, they are known as the rough endoplasmic reticulum. These ribosomes, they are responsible for the synthesis of proteins which are export in quality. So export quality proteins are synthesized in the rough endoplasmic reticulum along with the proteins which are needed for the membrane and the proteins of the lysosomes. While the free ribosomes, they synthesize the protein which helpful or which consist of the cytosolic proteins, the proteins of mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and so on. The mitochondria also contains the DNA, but most of the proteins, they are synthesized, required for the functioning of mitochondria, synthesized by the nuclear DNA. Ribosomal RNA, different species of ribosomal RNA present. Here the other factors, the protein factors which are also required for the translation process, and this one is the important component of the translational machinery. These protein factors, they are um, maybe initiation factors, maybe elongation factors, or the releasing factor at the termination phase. Three phases occur during the translational process. Initiation required the initiation factors, elongation factors, which also involve the elongation factors, whether they are the eukaryotic elongation factors or prokaryotic elongation factors, along with the releasing factor. Along with energy is required for the translational process. Two ATPs they are required during the attachment of amino acid at the 3' site of tRNA. Here is the 3' site of the tRNA. This one is the two-step reaction. This tRNA, it binds the amino acid. For example, the methionine, the anticodon for, or the codon for methionine is AUG. AUG is the start codon or initiation codon, and the complementary anticodon for this is the UAC. It binds the methionine at its 3' end. This 3' end contains the nucleotide sequence, that is CCA, hydroxyl or AOH. This attachment, it involves the amino-acyl tRNA synthetases. These are the enzymes which require ATP for its binding to at its 3' end of the tRNA. These amino-acyl tRNA synthetases, they catalyze the two-step reaction. In the first step, ATP is hydrolyzed to PPI, and then this PPI, then pyrophosphatase, by the action of pyrophosphatase, again it is converted into 2-inorganic phosphate. The enzyme which binds with this AMP, now it is activated and it can bind the specific amino acids. These amino acid synthetases, they are also responsible to recognize the specific amino acid according to its codon, the incoming codon, and then bringing the other factors also involved, and it also responsible this amino acid, the charged tRNA towards the messenger RNA. Again, in the next step, the release of the AMP enzyme and the attachment of this activated amino acid, first of all binding with this activated enzyme, now attached at this end. Now this tRNA is so called the charged tRNA when it binds the amino acid at its 3' end. This one is the two components of the ribosomes. In prokaryote, there are 70 S. The size and shape determines the Svedberg unit, or the 70S is not simply the numerical addition of these 50S and 30S. Two units, that is 50S and 30S, they form the 70S subunit of ribosome in prokaryotes. The 50S contains the 5S ribosomal RNA, 23S ribosomal RNA, and along with the 34 proteins. They bind the different types of 34 proteins. While the 30S, it binds the 16S ribosomal RNA, contain the 16S ribosomal RNA and 21 proteins to form this complex ribonucleoprotein. The eukaryotic ribosomes contain the two subunits. One is the ATS, and this ATS subunit, it formed from the two subunits 60S and 40S. The 60S subunits, it contain the 50 proteins along with the 5S ribosomal RNA component, 28S and 5.8S, while the 40S, it contains the 18S ribosomal RNA component and the 35 proteins. So all of these, they form the two units of translational machinery in both in prokaryotes as well as in eukaryotes. The recognition of tRNA, how it is recognized, the specific codon, it is through the Wobble hypothesis. This Wobble hypothesis, as I have told earlier, that the sequence of codon always read in 5' to 3' direction, while for anticodon it is antiparallel as well as the complementary. So it will always read in 3' to 5' direction. Codon always read 5' to 3' direction, and its complementary sequence, which is antiparallel, in 3' to 5' direction. Wobble hypothesis, it shows that the first base of the anticodon that is present at the 5' end, uh, it is non-traditional, less stringent, and while or in other words, the 3' base of codon, it is which is the last base of the codon, it is less stringent and non-traditional. For example, the traditional base pairing is A base paired with U, A present on the tRNA anticodon, while the U, it is on the codon of the messenger RNA. This one is the messenger RNA, always read in 5' to 3' direction, and here it is the uh, anticodon, which is always read in 3' to 5' direction. 3' to 5' direction. It is antiparallel and complementary again. The four standard traditional base pairing according to Watson and Crick model, that A paired with U, G paired with C, U paired with A, and C paired with G. But it is applicable at these two bases starting from 5' end. But the three base paired with the present at the 3' end, it is less stringent and form a non-traditional base pairing. For example, the here the G, which is present at the tRNA, it can also pair with C and U. So if C is present, then instead of pairing G, it can also pair with U. So it is non-traditional. And if hyperxanthine H is present in the anticodon, then it can pair with U, C, and A. So this one is the base pairing with the which are the less stringent and non-traditional, and it can, by this base pairing, it can now recognize more than one codon. The benefit of this non-traditional and less stringent base pairing is that it can recognize is less stringent. The base pairing, it involves to recognize more than one codon. And how this base pairing occur? This is through the Wobble hypothesis, which states that the three base pair present at the 3' side of the messenger RNA, it forms the non-traditional and less stringent base pairing of the base pair present at the messenger RNA at the 5' present at the tRNA at the 5' side of the tRNA.